Started the same way, wrapping it with burlap. So I'm going to speed this up so I don't bore you all to death. Wrap that with burlap ribbon. And then it was time to add Spanish moss. So crafting pro tip, do not buy Spanish moss at the craft store because it is a ripoff. Buy it at Dollar Tree. So like this one packet was like $1.25. I was looking at Michael's. I can't remember what the moss was, but they were selling like a bag of straw. It was a bag of straw for like $5.99. It was insanity. But I digress. Anyway, so then just hot glue, like kind of pull apart that Spanish moss so you have little sections of it, and then generously hot glue it to the ribbon. So yes, this is extremely messy, but I really do love the look of the Spanish moss on this wreath, especially with the Easter eggs that I'm going to add. So just cover that whole wreath form. And then I grabbed some speckled eggs from Michael's. Okay, so yes, Dollar Tree does sell speckled eggs. I just didn't love the look of them. I have also painted plastic eggs using chalk paint, which is a super awesome option as well. But these were at Michael's 40% off, so that's what I went with because I really, really liked the pastel muted tones of these eggs. And so you need a fair amount of hot glue. So sometimes like I'd put a big dab of hot glue on the back of the egg and it still didn't stick very well, so I'd stick a little bit more hot glue on there as well. But use as many eggs or as few eggs as you like, just kind of stagger them around the wreath form and kind of alternate the colors to the best of your ability. I think for this I used like 1.5 packets of eggs. One wasn't quite enough. And then I found some of these little mini flowers. I could use Dollar Tree flowers, but by this time I'd already gone to Dollar Tree, and then I realized, oh, I wanted something else for this wreath, and I was at Michael's, and I didn't want to go back to Dollar Tree. So I just got these. They were 40% off in the spring floral section anyway. And I used about half of each sprig. So there was like a white one, or a pink one and a white one, and I used about half of each, but I just cut off little snippets of these little tiny flowers. And then I hot glued the ends and stuck them into the Spanish moss underneath the eggs. And it's really about personal preference, like how many flowers you want to add. So just keep adding flowers until you get your wreath to look the way you want it to. But here's my finished fourth and final Easter wreath.